Hello everyone, I'm Akshay Jain, and in this video I'm going to explain you how we can perform a data load from Excel file into MS SQL Server data table. This activity we are going to perform using a SQL Server integration services, okay? And for that purpose I have just opened the solution in front of you, okay? Now what activity we are going to do today is we have one Excel file with us, okay, in which we have a product category details where we are having the product category IDs, and along with it we are having the product category name into the English, French and Spanish language, okay. As a destination table we are going to use a MS SQL Server database, okay, and here on my machine on the MS SQL Server I have created one database, training database, and under which I have created one table, dim product category. In this table, I'm going to load this data. In this table, I have just created this table with this 4 column, okay, and I have just defined the data types as you can see on my screen. At present, in this table, we do not have any records, and now in this demo, I'm going to demonstrate to you how we can load the data from the Excel file into the MS SQL Server table. Okay, so now I believe goal is clear to everyone that what we are trying to achieve. Now to perform this activity, what we need to do first is we just need an SSIS solution. So I have just created the SSIS solution already, okay, and in this particular solution I have one package with the name Excel data load.dtsx, okay. In this particular package, to perform this activity, we just need to add one data flow task as we are going to perform ETL operations over here, okay. So for that purpose, I'm just dragging and dropping this data flow task into our SSIS package, and I'm renaming this task to, let's say, load Excel data into MS SQL Server, okay. Now here, whenever we want to perform any kind of operation that involve an MS SQL Server, whenever we perform any operation that include an Excel file as a source or destination, in that case we need to change a certain solution properties, okay. Our SSIS solution, what we use, it do not support a Excel driver into a 64-bit runtime environment. We need to make sure that our solution run in a 32-bit environment whenever we work with an Excel file as a source or destination. So for that purpose, first I'm going to this project tab, okay. Under the project tab, we are going to have one of the option as a project properties, okay. And when I go to the project properties, here I'm having one of the option under the configuration properties, okay, as a debugging, okay. Now in this debugging section, I am having a solution properties, and one of the property I'm having over here is a run 64-bit runtime, okay. Now the Excel driver that has been created, it only support a 32-bit runtime environment only, and it do not support a 64-bit runtime environment. So for that purpose, what we need to do is we just need to change this property to false, okay, to tell our SSIS package that it has to run into the 32-bit runtime environment. After making these changes, we can just say apply over here, and we can just say OK over here. So now our SSIS package is ready, okay, to work with an Excel file. Now here what we want to do is we want to fetch data from the Excel file, and we want to load that data into an MS SQL Server. So for that purpose, we need to create two data connection, okay, one for an Excel file and one for an MS SQL Server. For that purpose, I'm just going to this connection manager window, and I'm just right clicking over here to add a new connection manager. Now the first connection that I want to add is an Excel file connection. So I'm just going to this new connection option over here, and when I click on the new connection option, I will be getting a list of all the available connection that is available to me based on the driver that has been installed on my machine, okay. I'm just selecting the connection manager over here as an Excel, and I'm just saying add over here. Once I say add, it will just ask me that which particular Excel file you want to use as a source or destination within your SSIS package. So for that purpose, I just need to browse the file of the Excel path over here. Okay. On my machine, the Excel path right now present in this folder C material product flat files. So I'm just copying this path and I'm just I'm just going to use this particular path into this connection. So I'm just browsing the location over here, and here I'm just mentioning this path. Okay, and from this place I'm just selecting the file product category.xlsx that contain my data. Okay, I'm just selecting this particular file. Okay, based on the file you are selecting, it will take the actual version accordingly, so just don't worry about it. Okay, and after that, if in your file you have a first record that contain the column names, just keep this checkbox checked. If it do not contain a column name, you can just remove this checkbox from this place. Okay, it will help SSIS package to read the Excel file to read the data accordingly from the Excel file. Once you provide this path and details over here, just say OK on this screen. Okay, and your Excel connection manager is now created that can fetch data from an Excel file. Similarly, now we need to fetch data from the we need to create a connection manager for our MS SQL Server. So for that purpose, I'm going to my connection manager. I'm just saying right clicking on over here, and I'm just clicking on this OLEDB connection. Once I click on the new OLEDB connection over here, I will be getting an option to create a connection to my MS SQL Server. Here the connection is already created, so I'm just deleting it and just to show you how we can create a connection. Okay. Now to create a new connection to our training database, we just need to click on new over here. Okay. When we click on the new, we will be getting a pop-up window which looks something like this. In this window, we need to provide a server name, that which is a server we want to connect to. Okay. So here you can just choose a server, whatever you want to connect to. Okay, you can write a server name over here, like in my case Akshay PC is the only server that is being installed over here, so I'm just selecting it like this. Okay, the connection I want to make to the server using a Windows authentication only, so I'm just keeping this option as it is. If you require to connect your MS SQL Server using a SQL Server authentication, in that case you can choose this option and you can just provide a confirm. And you can provide a concerned user ID and password accordingly. I'm just using over here the Windows authentication mode. Okay. After that, I can go to this drop down and I can just select the database to which I want to make connection. Okay. Now here I want to create a connection to our training database. So for that purpose, I'm just selecting this training database over here. Okay. After that, to ensure the connectivity is proper, you can just click on this test connection button, and it will just provide you a result whether the connection is created successfully or not. Once you are done with this activity, just say OK over here and say OK on this window. You will be able to see your connection manager name over here into this data connection window. Select that connection name and just say OK over here, and that connection now will be added to your connection manager list. Once you have now both the connection, afterwards you can do the ETL activity. So you can go to the data flow task, that is a load Excel data into MS SQL Server. Okay, and in this data flow task we can now write our task, or we can just create our task to perform this activity. Here I'm not going to do any complex thing. I'm just going to fetch data from Excel and just going to load it into MS SQL Server. Okay, so for that purpose I'm just taking the Excel source, okay, as my source transformation. Okay, and let me just add it over here. Once it is added, I just need to configure it to fetch data from the Excel connection manager that I have just created. Okay, so for that purpose I can just click on this, I can just double click on this Excel source, and when I double click on it, it will just open a window which looks something like this. Now in this window I'm having all the Excel connection manager that has been already created within my SSIS package. Here we only have one connection manager, so I can just see one connection manager over here. I can just say OK over here, so that will be selected by default. If you want to create a connection manager from this place, you can just click on this new button over here, and it will allow you to create a new Excel connection manager as well, like we have created for this one. Okay. After that, you need to select the data access mode, that how you want to fetch a data from an Excel file. So from the Excel file, you can fetch data in a two-way. Either you can fetch data by just specifying the spreadsheet name. Okay. If you want to choose this option, you can just choose the access mode over here as a table or view. Okay. The other way to fetch a data from Excel file is you write an SQL query, okay, that can run on the Excel file to fetch a data. Okay. If you want to perform that operation, just select the SQL command over here and specify your query accordingly. Now, either this SQL command or table or view, if you want to define it into some variable, and if you want to use it from there, you can just select this second or fourth option. Okay. In our case, I'm just going to fetch a data from the Excel spreadsheet only. So I'm just keeping this option as a table or view. Okay. Now after that, we just need to select the name of the Excel spreadsheet, okay, from which we want to fetch this data. So for that purpose, I'm just going to this drop down, and in the drop down, I will be having a list of all the spreadsheet that I'm having in this file. In this file, we are only having the one spreadsheet, that is a product master. So I'm just selecting it over here, and now our task is done. Okay. After that, now I can just go to the column section over here to just check what are the columns I'm getting from this Excel file. And here I can just see the list of all the columns that I'm getting. Okay. If you want to preview the data, what data you are getting from the Excel file, you can go to this connection manager window again, and over here you will find one button on the left hand side with the name preview. You can click on this preview button, and once you click on it, you will be able to see what kind of data it is fetching from your Excel file. So you can just ensure it will just fetch the first 200 records. So by looking at this data, you can just ensure that whether your data load is happening properly or not. Once you confirm your data, you can just say close over here, and you can just say OK on this Excel source editor window. And now your SSIS package is ready to fetch data from the Excel file. Now what we want to do is we want to load this data into the OLEDB destination, okay, where we want to load this data into on our MS SQL Server. So for that purpose, I'm just adding this OLEDB destination over here into my SSIS package. Okay. Now I'm connecting this Excel source to the OLEDB destination. Okay. And now once I connect it, what it will do is whatever data I'm fetching from the Excel source, that it will just pass it to the OLEDB destination. Now I have to configure this to load that data into a destination table. So for that purpose, I'm just loading this OLEDB destination into an edit mode. So I'm just right clicking on it, and I'm just going to the edit window. Okay. Over here in the edit window, I'm having these three tabs: connection manager, mapping, and error output. Okay. In the connection manager, I can just see over here the OLEDB connection manager name. Okay. So here I need to define that in which particular database I want to load the data. Okay. As we have already created a connection, we can just see its name over here, and we can just select it from this particular window. If you have not created a connection, you can just click on the new button over here, which is besides this drop down, and you can create a connection from there as well. After that, go to the table data access mode and select the data access mode as per your convenience. Okay. Here we want to select this table or view mode only. Okay. And after that, we need to select in which particular table we want to load this data. So for that purpose, what you need to do is you just need to go to the drop down below it. Okay. And you need to select the table in which you want to load this data. In the drop down, we will be getting a list of all the tables. So I'm just selecting over here this table named product category. Okay. And in this table, now we will be able to load our data. Here there are some properties: keep identity, keep nulls, and all those properties available over here. This property I will just explain you in an actual session. Okay. After that, I'm just going into the mapping section. And in the mapping section, I can just see that the name that I'm getting from my source, okay, and what are the names that's available into a destination table. If the column name are same, SSIS will do the mapping on its own. But if the names are different, it won't do the mapping. So for that purpose, what we need to do is we need to do a mapping manually. Like over here for this product category alternate key, it has not did any mapping over here. So for that purpose, what we need to do is we just need to go to this particular drop down and we need to select what data we want to load over here. We want to load the product category ID value. So I can just select this product category ID value from this drop down. Okay. And I can just say OK over here. Once I say OK, our SSIS package is now configured to load the data from this Excel file. Once I did this thing, I can just save my SSIS package. Okay. And after that, I can just execute it to validate whether my package is working properly or not. So for that purpose, I'm just executing this package by clicking on this arrow button that is available over here. And once I click on it, it will just start its execution. Okay. Now here you can just see that whenever the package execution is going to start, it will just read the data from our Excel file. So in an Excel file, we have 4 records. So it will just read those 4 records from the Excel file, and those 4 records now will be available into our OADB destination table. Here you can just see the information as well, that how many records it has transferred. Okay. Once the execution is done successfully, you can just see this kind of green circles with the right mark. Okay. And after that, you can just stop this execution by clicking on the stop button. Okay. And after that, if we go to our destination table, we will be able to see these 4 records being loaded into our database table. So now I'm just moving to my SQL Server table, and here now if I select the data from this table name product category, I will be able to see the 4 records are being loaded over here. Okay. So in this particular manner, we can just load the data from the Excel file into the database table. Okay. I hope all of you have enjoyed this session. Okay. And please pass us your feedback if you have any. Thank you everyone. Have a nice day.